That's absolutely right, Ann. And as we have consistent rain like we're expecting to have now through the end of the weekend, it does mean big trouble. Take a look at the pothole right here on Sherman Way. We've been watching as buses, trucks, cars have been going over it. It's been getting larger, it's been getting deeper. Look at the size of asphalt that broke off while we were here. Now the city's doing everything possible to try to fill these things. We're told $10 to $20 to repair each pothole, but if you run over it, boy, you're going to be paying a lot more than that. All this water can wreak havoc on the roadways. When it seeps through a soft little crack, the asphalt breaks apart, and before you know it, your tires take a big hit from a pothole, and so does your pocketbook.
Wesco's walking up you.
Juan Wesso works at Wesco Tire and Wheel. He says he sees a lot of this kind of damage roll in, especially when it rains, and lately, business has been flooding in.
Yesterday, we sent out 30 wheels for repair. Usually it's only 1 or 2 that go out a day.
It isn't cheap to repair or replace rims and tires. According to the LA Mayor's office, the average cost to drivers is nearly $700 a year. And it expects 500,000 claims to be filed this year for pothole mishaps.
Let me write that up.
Wesso says customers sometimes like to blame him for the problem, suggesting that the product he sells should hold up to this destructive menace. So, he explains.
They're aluminum, it's alloy, and they're made to give so that you don't blow the tire out. They are strong, but you know, most of the time you get cracks like you see here, or bends.
Wesso says there's not much anyone can do except slow down and try to dodge the potholes, which Los Angeles has a lot of. Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa has pledged to fill 350,000 of them this year. That translates to a $3 million promise. While Wesso says he appreciates the mayor's commitment, he says no matter how hard he tries, there's no way he can guarantee a smooth ride.
I mean, he's doing what he can from what I see, but you know, it's impossible to stay on top of him.
Well, the experts say if you keep proper pressure in your tire and you don't have those huge rims, the next time you run over one of these, well, it should lessen the impact to your car. But remember, no guarantee that you won't suffer any damage. We're live this afternoon in Van Nuys. I'm Jaime Garza.
Do I need to get another car?
When a nuisance abatement team walked into the back of this house on Reynaud Street, they were surprised at what they found.
Even the ceilings, and it's been concreted all in. There's no windows, and in here, throughout the entire house, you can see that there's bunkers.
The owner of the City of Industry property told inspectors this illegally built maze of fortified rooms was built for civil defense, but they say it looks more like a dungeon.
You can see that there's 2 living quarters back here, been fortified with rebar steel. The doors, they're all locked to the outside.
They had beds and food and TVs and cable hookup, so it could be something where people needed a place to crash. We don't know any of that yet.
Underneath this plywood is the entrance to a tunnel that stretches all the way to the end of this driveway near the sidewalk. The owner told deputies this tunnel was used so he could have easy access to the plumbing. They're not so sure about that. Neighbors say they did see a lot of people come and go from the dilapidated house that is now red tagged. Deputies say renters lived here, so did squatters, and the man who bought the place in 1967. His daughter, who moved away 20 years ago and asked not to be identified, says she can only speculate as to what has been taking place here. Were these strangely constructed rooms used for drug activity or even to smuggle people?
They're not storage, that's for sure. I mean, you can just tell by the rooms they're not storage.
See, now how come they didn't take that mattress?
At this point, inspectors only know one thing for sure. This eerie-looking structure is unsafe and will probably have to go. Well, it appears people who were using this facility had no idea it was going to be shut down today. Just within the last hour, a couple of young people showed up. You could see on their faces that they were just bewildered that the place was locked up. Shortly thereafter, an older gentleman pulled up in his car. It looked like everything he owned was in the back of his car, and he took off. But when you look at the faces of the neighbors around here, what do you see? Relief. We're live this afternoon in the City of Industry. I'm Jaime Garza, KKL 9 News. This is Highway 330. It is rather icy, expected to be icy tonight as it was earlier today. And by the way, it caused some problems. But I will guarantee if you have the patience, I think it'll be well worth your trip up here. Take a look. A blanket of fresh powder drapes the slopes at Snow Valley Ski Resort.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Snowboarders like Billy Ivy say it's not only awesome to see, but listen. This crunching sound is what you typically hear in places like Utah and Colorado, not here in Southern California. The snow is dry and fluffy, perfect to cushion your fall.
Any crash is a fun crash because you kind of just get stuck in snow for a minute.
I was actually skiing up there on some trails that didn't have any snow before, and they're in good shape now, actually.
Roger View is a marketing manager for Snow Valley. He says this second significant snowfall of the year dumped as much as 8 inches here, much more at higher elevations, and it came just in time. Overall, he says this season is an improvement from some in the past.
Last year was pretty dry to start off. Didn't get good snow until February about, but then March through April was just excellent, and this year's looking better than that.
So if conditions are so great, where are all the skiers? You think these sparse runs would be crowded. You'll find the answer at the bottom of the mountain.
You have some tire chains we can see?
Anxious skiers found themselves at a standstill. Treacherous icy road conditions forced the closure of Highway 330. Valentin Capraru and his girlfriend ran into this roadblock at 7 this morning.
I have to not think about the bathroom and not drink too much water.
Instead of sitting in their truck for the full 5 boring hours, Valentin decided to put on his chains early. The CHP says they are mandatory.
Actually, this is my Christmas present to her. We're going to go snowboard for the day and then spend the night at a cabin.
Which day?
We were going to go today, but we might change
tomorrow.
And tomorrow may be even better than today. At least that's what those who run these ski resorts are banking on. And would you take a look at that? If you would like to come up here and enjoy this in person, again, make sure you bring your chains. Also pack some food, water, and blankets just in case you find out like those folks earlier today where you get in a stall. The CHP says it's always a good idea when you come up to the mountains, especially in the snow, to have extra supplies.